Right now at 6, the vote that could send teachers in Oregon's second biggest school district straight to the picket lines.
I'm just really sad that it's come to this, that the teachers have to fight for their livelihood.
Plus, a close call on the Shamrock Run course leaves a runner shaken up.
I didn't really have time to think. I just kind of acted, and then I was just angry.
Why the suspected drunk driver who almost hit her is now in even more trouble. And
we know that for some people, spring break means something really different.
The local volunteers packing bags of groceries to make sure students don't go without.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We begin at 6 with teachers in SalemKaiser moving potentially closer to the picket lines with a make or break vote this week on whether or not to strike. Thomas Schultz is live at school district headquarters. So Thomas, what is happening where you are?
Yeah, well, David, there's still a scattering of teachers, families, and parents who have been here for about an hour and a half here protesting outside district headquarters, and it's all in hopes of reaching a contract that meets teachers' demands.
We don't want to strike, but we will if we have to.
For close to a year, Tyler Skello Lakeberg and SalemKaiser Teachers Union leadership have bargained for a new contract, and now tensions are as high as ever. Teachers vote this week whether or not to strike, and picket signs are already stocked at union headquarters.
I never thought we would be in this place and for this to last so long.
While teachers mull over a possible strike, the union and district continue to negotiate, and they're not far from a deal. Skello Lakeberg says just 3 articles separate the sides. The biggest, teacher workloads. Skello Lakeberg says SalemKaiser's proposal could decrease some educators' full-time roles to part-time.
Our district, with the FT language that they have proposed and the way they have implemented it in the past, could have people working and being paid an hour or 2 less a day, but still teaching the same amount of classes.
We reached out to the district for an interview today. They declined our request. Though Superintendent Andrea Castaneda previously said she doesn't want to make teachers part-time employees. Though with the district facing a $30 million deficit, SalemKaiser can't agree to teachers' demands.
I think it's very sad.
Gloria Holland is a grandmother of SalemKaiser students. For decades, she was a teacher, and her daughter is an educator in the district now too. Holland says class sizes are far too large, and teachers underpaid.
I'm just really sad that it's come to this, that the teachers have to fight for their livelihood.
And ideally, she'd like to see a strike avoided.
It's not going to be good. But if this is the only way that the teachers can get what they deserve in this contract, then I'm all for it.
Our members do not want to strike, but they're prepared to do so.
All right, you heard it there. They're prepared. Thomas, if teachers vote to authorize a strike, what is the very earliest they could walk off the job?
Well, David, it could be the first or second week of April that they start that strike and hit the picket lines. Now, bargaining will continue. It's actually going to pick up tomorrow in a marathon bargaining session, and union leaders say they'll continue to bargain whether or not a strike does happen. David?
Yeah, I know you'll be watching it very closely. Thomas Schultz live in Salem. Thank you, Thomas. In your headlines this evening, a man wanted in connection with a shooting last night is now behind bars after a morning standoff in southeast Portland. Portland police say 47-year-old Roy Colbert was arrested without incident around 9 a.m. near Southeast 92nd and Division. They say no one was injured in the shooting. Colbert is facing charges of menacing and discharging a firearm. Portland police have made an arrest in connection with a November homicide in the Parkrose Heights neighborhood. 40-year-old Nicole Davis was shot to death in an apartment at 11th and Weiler the day before Thanksgiving. Police identified 30-year-old David Sims Jr. as their suspect. Sims was arrested this morning. He now faces charges that include second-degree murder. Washington's governor has signed 7 bills into law to combat the state's opioid epidemic. The new laws include more money for treatment programs, a statewide fentanyl education curriculum in schools, and supplies of Narcan to all Washington schools. A group of students from Lake Washington High helped push to make Narcan more widely available.
Looking at the extreme amount of my peers alone who have suffered from this problem really makes it so important that we come together.
Washington saw more than 2,700 overdose deaths in 2022, 2/3 of those from fentanyl. Well, it was a busy St. Patrick's Day weekend for officers working to keep Portland streets safe from impaired drivers. Police teamed up with state and county law enforcement. So from Friday through Sunday, they say they conducted more than 1,600 traffic stops for speeding, impaired, and distracted driving. More than 950 of those resulted in citations, and more than 75 drivers were arrested. And we are 1 month away from the grand opening of the largest REI store in Oregon. The 39,000 square foot store at Walker Center in Cedar Hills is set to open Friday, April 19th. They are planning a 3-day celebration with live music, outdoor socials, and brand vendors. The new Beaverton store will open just months after REI's last location in the city of Portland in the Pearl District shut its doors. Matt?
Well, a great day to be outdoors with the 70-degree temperatures. We hit 71 degrees in Portland today. Not a record, missed that by 2. But you know what? This is 5 straight days in the 70s, the most since 1978, and the only second for March behind 1941 when we had 6 straight 70-degree days. So really quite impressive, especially when you consider yesterday was 77, right? Around the state, though, 70s now on the east side. The coast, much cooler, highs only around 50 there, and that's where our weather will be coming from over the next few days. Up on Mount Hood, still looks beautiful, right? But the difference is this. See this cloud over Mount Hood? It's not much of a cloud, but it shows you, in fact, you can, if you watch it, you can see the west to east wind flow as you're looking north here, right? So it's cooler up on the mountain. It's 51 degrees. Yesterday at this time it was 58. It's cooler everywhere in the valleys too, and it's all coming from this deep marine layer, which is gathering forces at the Oregon coast. Only 50 at Newport right now. So it'll become cloudy in the valleys late tonight. It'll be much cooler as we go into tomorrow with highs only in the 50s. Rain, yes, a little bit tomorrow, but much more coming late in the week. We'll talk more on that later, David.
Yeah, welcome to spring. Thank you, Matt. We are following up this evening on the runner nearly hit by a suspected drunk driver during this weekend's Shamrock Run, and the man authorities say was behind the wheel. 62-year-old Brian Roan is now facing even more charges after he failed today to show up in court. Joe Ranieri is here with much more on that runner's close call. Joe?
Yeah, Dave, this was a very close call, and she's very lucky she wasn't hit because Brian Roan's car came within just inches of hitting her. Faith Londo flew from Florida to Portland to participate in the Shamrock Run over the weekend. Londo was part of a virtual running group who meet at different races a couple times a year around the country. On Sunday, she was participating in the 15K race when she was nearly hit. She says the car came within about 6 inches of hitting her. According to Portland police, Roan drove through a barricade near Southwest Barber and Hamilton. Police say that Roan nearly hit Londo while she was in the middle of the race.
You know, I had my headphones in, I was listening to my music, I was kind of in my groove, and all of a sudden I heard like a car's engine revving nearby, which I thought was kind of weird because there wasn't supposed to be anyone on the course.
Thankfully, Londo was not injured, but was very shaken up. Roan took off after driving through the barricade, but police were able to catch up with him at the Burlingame Fred Meyer in Southwest Portland and arrested him. Roan was supposed to make his first court appearance earlier this morning, but he didn't show up. Now there's a warrant out for his arrest on top of the other charges he's facing, including reckless endangerment and reckless driving. His next court date, David, is scheduled for next month.
Thank you, Joe. Glad she's okay. Coming up this evening on The Story, a new proposal by Portland police to create a special team of officers ready to respond to protests. Blair Best is in the newsroom right now with those details. Blair?
Well, David, if this plan is approved, officers will do extra crowd control training along with getting a 6% pay raise each time they respond to a protest. Now, these will be existing officers who volunteer to be a part of this. It'll cost the Bureau an additional $380,000 per year. Now, back in 2020, there was plenty of controversy around how Portland police responded to protesters. One officer was indicted on a 4th-degree misdemeanor assault charge after hitting someone in the head with his baton. That charge was dismissed and he publicly apologized. But some groups, like the Oregon Justice Resource Center, remain skeptical of the Bureau's plans heading into this election season.
Unless there's actual accountability measures that are built into this, if the officers who are involved in the 2020 protests do not volunteer or get involved in this, I don't see how this turns out any different.
My hope is that we go through this election season and we have healthy, robust conversations about our political differences, and we do that without the police even being present. That would be a healthy city.
All right, so the mayor's office says more announcements about this potential crowd control unit will be coming soon, as early as later this week. And if the plan is approved, the first officer training will be down in Salem in May. More on all of this coming up tonight at 6:30 on The Story.
Thank you, Blair.